Obama was historic. It truly was historic to have him win. I think winning the election was his finest moment, and it was all downhill from there. He didn't deliver much, but you could say he was iconic. He had a look, a sound. He represented a hope. I look at the field of Democrats who were seeking the presidential nomination, and it feels like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs without Snow White. It's just seven dwarves. It feels like, I mean, when Donald Trump ran, it was a very crowded field of nominees against him too. There was actually some good contenders there, I think, that were serious, but he was just so dominant. I don't see anyone in this Democrat field that makes me say, wow, or they've got leadership, they've got the royal jelly. I mean, they're either too old, Joe Biden, too socialist, Bernie Sanders, too young and inexperienced, Pete Buttigieg. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but I look at that and I think it's not a surprise that Hillary Clinton keeps floating trial balloons, because at least she's a giant. She's a corrupt, failed, unhealthy, miserable giant, but she is a giant.
Right. So she's teasing the idea of running. Look, in 4 years or 5 years, Republicans are in trouble because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to be old enough to run for president. She's the only person who excites the Democratic Party and can broaden it by bringing in new young voters. So I think that her personality would dominate the field. She exudes leadership. Like her or not, she's got leadership qualities. And she controls the Democratic caucus right now. I mean, she basically prodded Nancy Pelosi toward impeachment. So there you go. But you're correct. I don't think Democrats like their own candidates. I've talked to Democrats in many different groups of the population, let me put it that way, socioeconomically, racially, ethnically. Nobody seems to like their candidates. Nobody feels what you described, that sort of attraction to a leader that Republicans felt with Trump. And like him or hate him, they felt strongly about him. There are no Democrats that evoke that strength of feeling. So I think Democrats find themselves in a similar situation to Republicans in 2012 when Mitt Romney was sort of heir apparent to the nomination because he bowed out in favor of John McCain in 2008. And he didn't really come from the Tea Party. He wasn't in touch with the base. He had the right resume, good looks and all of that, but he really didn't resonate with the party and people were dissatisfied. They kept looking around. We called them the not Romneys. It was Romney versus the not Romneys. And people kept looking at the not Romneys. And every month, it seemed there was a new one. There was Newt Gingrich one month. There was Rick Santorum another month. And the Republican primary electorate kind of cycled through these alternatives to Romney before basically giving up and settling on Romney. The smart money says that's what's going to happen with Joe Biden. And by the way, my prediction of Kamala Harris was wrong. So that didn't happen. But she may still be on the ticket because of the fact that she checks all the different boxes for Democrats in different ways. But Joe Biden may end up being kind of default nominee, and then Democrats kind of hobble into the election. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to lose. I mean, Democrats have the tech companies, the media, Hollywood on their side. Those are very, very big factors. So we'll see. But I think Democrats are certainly in a very difficult position, and it is probably too late for another candidate to come in who does have that sort of leadership quality. Nobody knows who it would be, and Democrats have not done a very good job of developing a bench of talent. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is there, but she basically broke down the door. She ran against an incumbent lieutenant of Nancy Pelosi's in the Democratic Party. So that's how Democrats are going to renew themselves. The current crop of candidates really doesn't provide them with much. Maybe a few future cabinet members. You can see Pete Buttigieg, for example, being placed in charge of something or other, but I don't see a real leader among them either.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.